Hi there, it's Melly again from magicwithmelly.com, and this is a logo concept sketch debriefing, which means that this is step one of my visual magical branding process, where I tune in to the energy and the soul of your business and then create soul resonant aligned graphics, which will, magnetically begin to resonate with the people who you are here to reach, and you are here to inspire, and you are here to co-create with. So I'm going to flip you around and show you how this sketching process has evolved and where we are right now. All right, so this is my actual all-purpose sketchbook. I've got all kinds of stuff in here, illustrations, watercolor swatches. So completely ignore this Melanie up here. I just began playing with this concept on this spread, and you'll see I played with it on a couple other spreads as well. So we'll just walk through. So the first thing in tuning into Revolution of Bliss was the idea of recycling, like the movement and the spinning of the energy creating kind of a vortex came to mind, and the idea of revolving. So obviously revolution, revolving. So these ideas of kind of like a revolving door, intersecting planes and dimensions came up. The idea of a bow, like a gift, because this is a gift, bliss is a gift. The idea of being able to unwrap this beautiful gift that is, decorated, this light kind of coming from within as well. So there was kind of the idea of the bow. And then I played around with the idea of kind of a lotus shape becoming the bow that is shining and radiating. It wasn't incorporating the idea of revolution, the revolving and the movement as much, and so I moved on from these concepts, but these were initial concepts. Again, revolution, the idea of the dancer kind of being a central axis and this spinning vortex energy, movement as well. You can see I was writing the Bliss We Are, World Magic Co-Creation, the idea of co-creation as well, and that's why these didn't quite encapsulate that idea of movement, and so I moved on. You can see I was playing around with the ideas of gears and connection and catalyzing, the idea of this kind of initial spark maybe revolving on a disc, and then I'll move on to another page in my sketchbook. So here we've got more ideas, and here's where I started playing around with the idea of a pinwheel, because the idea of that bow and the lotus was prominent, and then the image of a pinwheel popped in. And so this is my very initial rough sketch, feeling like that's the movement, it's being moved by the wind, being moved by that invisible force. And then the idea of a flame, and also the idea of a hand. If you've done any meditation, etc., there are different, mudras that we can use for our hands. And so this was the idea almost of, the thumb to forefinger shape, which also can be made to look like a flame. The idea of the mudra, that focus, the focused flame, and maybe incorporating those into a pinwheel shape. So we've got that movement, that burning inner flame, that focus of the mudra and the concentration. And then I'll move to the next page is where I really started working more with the pinwheel shape, and also the idea of these bubbles, which you will see on the final page. But I was playing around with the shape of the pinwheel, up here the idea of the flame, and then here I was doing more of a traditional pinwheel shape with kind of flames emerging from inside, and almost like these are enfolding this kind of like cupped hand slash cocooning of the flame energy, because there's the idea of nurturing that, cupping and nurturing so that it can grow and expand. And now I'll move on to the last sheet. And this is where I kind of brought everything together. So here I came back to that nurturing, cupping the flame, the idea of the spiral in the center, that, expanding outward from the inner core into this movement of the pinwheel. Here I was playing around a little more with the idea of, incorporating the flame slash mudra shape into a bee of bliss, which, the font and the text usually comes after the initial mark concept has been developed, because this concept is so integral to the rest of the visual brand. And so, the text becomes an extension of that initial concept, as opposed to focusing on the exact, look and feel of the text, and then trying to retrofit some kind of concept that doesn't completely encompass the energy. But here's where I brought everything together and kind of that flame mudra shape into the pinwheel with that, growth of the spiral. And then I added in this effervescence, which you can see my notes over here, kind of encapsulating the energy of flowering, of pollinating, of effervescence, and that energy, expanding from the center out, being moved by, that bliss and the revolution, the revolving, as well. And the idea of the flame coming into revolution, because, the flame burns. It burns everything that isn't serving so that something new can emerge. So that kind of constant rebirth of the flame that is moving through the pinwheel, and then the expansion of that effervescence. And I hope that brings some clarity and some additional inspiration and magic to the birthing of this new business, of this new endeavor. And it is always my intention to really tune into the essence and then translate that into a magical visual embodiment of that essence. And therefore the mark is much more powerful than just being a logo. It is a beacon. It becomes a beacon, it becomes a magnet, it becomes something that's alive, and that can assist in catalyzing, the continued revolution of your own initiatives. Thanks for watching.